and there's no such thing as finishing second in recruiting, but by all accounts, Urban did finish, it was down to Maryland and Ohio State for Stephon Diggs at the time, and he ended up staying home. It's his home state, and he's got 29 catches and a couple touchdowns, a 77-yarder, and he leads the Big Ten right now with 29 receptions. He's super fast, and he's a big kid, definitely an NFL player waiting to happen, although he's just a sophomore. So they have weapons, and they're going to have a hostile crowd to face the Buckeyes. It's going to be a tough game. I think the Buckeyes prevail, but it's going to be a tough slog, I think, Jerry. Man,
I got to tell you, I'm on the opposite side of the final score with you. We'll talk about that in a minute, but you brought up the quarterbacks. That's important there because there's such a difference. You brought up Brown. Rowe did well, but they're completely different quarterbacks. I mean, obviously Brown is he's more dynamic. He's the dual threat, as you said. He's able to, on the ground, he's their leading rusher as well. So, and he averages 5 yards a carry. So that's a difference who's going to end up starting there. But, man, the thing that gets me is not only are you dealing with another potent passing attack, as you just got done describing there, and you still got issues. I mean, Ohio State, Urban Meyer can tell me that I told Coach to get it straightened out, and this is not acceptable all you want. But we've had a couple of weeks here that were unacceptable in the early part of the season. That I'm just saying, it's easy in season to say you're going to fix things. Getting them fixed is not always as easy as saying that. And here you got a team that's going to come right after you through the air again, and you're on the road, which is a different beast than dealing with it at home when you've got the crowd working towards your favor. So what are your thoughts, man? But I'm telling you, I think that the Bucs are ripe for I don't know if you even want to call it an upset here, but I think they go down at the hands of the Terrapins, man. I know Buckeye fans be mad at me for saying that, but my gut's telling me that they're going to have some stuff. I guess it depends. Let's see what they do at quarterback there, but I think that the Bucs are going to have a much more of a fight on their hand than people are thinking looking at this game.
Yeah, I don't think the Bucs themselves or the coaching staff is under any illusions about having an easy win on Saturday by any stretch. I think they're ready for what's going to be a hostile environment. We saw last week, though, Jerry, this offense. I don't see the Terrapins having an answer for J.T. Barrett and Ezekiel Elliott and Dontre Wilson and all those weapons. I think we're probably looking at, again, last week I said I looked for a high-scoring game and 40-something to 20-something, I think is what I said, and it turned out the Buckeyes put 50 up. But I won't be surprised to have a very similar kind of game play out Saturday where both teams are scoring, but the Buckeyes just have too many weapons and too much skill, and they're going to summon enough stops on defense to come out on top. I'm thinking, 35-21, something along those lines, 34-24, maybe something in that 10-point to 2 touchdown range. That's going to be the difference between the skill positions on one side versus what the other side can put together. So. Obviously, you may be right. They could be walking into a thing, but I wouldn't call it a trap game because you can be sure the Buckeye coaches and are going in with their eyes open about the after seeing how they really dismantled Indiana last week. They played very well on the road, and they'll have, like you say, the benefit of that home crowd this week. And it'll be a tough game, but I see the Buckeyes by 10.
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying. It could play out too. I mean, as you saw, they got into the back and forth with West Virginia, talking about Maryland there. So, and you could be right. I mean, maybe I'm gun shy here after Virginia Tech, that I'm just looking for the next team that's going to knock off the Bucs here, because I still see, if I was already thinking 1 or 2 losses before that, I'm definitely thinking 2 or 3 here, man, and I hope not. I would hope that they can run the table, and I hope they do straighten things out. I do like the way the schedule fell out as far as the test. Like, you come off of something that we just talked about, and then you're going to have the same thing thrown right back at you this week. So you don't have to wait 2 or 3 weeks to see if you got that straightened out. You went and said, okay, Chris Ash, let's get this together. Okay, I'm going to get this together. Here comes another team that's going to throw it right at us. Let's see if we got it together.
Right. Well, that every team is going to be coming out winging the ball down the field against this team until we prove that we can stop it. but you're right about the Ohio State schedule. I think they are heading into a stretch now, starting with Maryland, where they've got Maryland, Rutgers, Penn State, and Illinois 4 in a row. Not exactly the top 20. Penn State has proven to be quite pedestrian over the last couple of weeks. Rutgers is going to be tough too, but they get them in Columbus, and Illinois is not good. Two of those games, Penn State game and the Illinois game, are both 8 o'clock night games on national TV. Actually, they have 3 national TV games in a row. Penn State, Illinois, and Michigan State coming up from October 25th through the first 2 weeks of November. But this stretch starting now, Maryland, Rutgers, Penn State, and Illinois, you've got a relatively soft stretch in the schedule. Your rougher games, Michigan State, Michigan, are down the line in November. But I see him prevailing just because I see that steady improvement of J.T. Barrett and of the offense. And setting an NCAA record for first downs last week made a believer out of me that this offense can run and they can move the ball against anybody. We'll see how they do against the Spartans, but I might make an exception in that case. But because they look like still a fine defense, but I don't think anybody's going to stop them short of 35 points over the next 4 ball games, and I think their defense is good enough to win all 4 of those games.
And you could very well be right. And Elliott, that's the X factor, how they run on these guys. And like you said, there's a lot of skill pieces over there. Wilson's getting more and more involved each week in the offense, and that's somebody that I enjoy watching as he continues to go, because from the first time before he played, I'm like, man, I've heard so much about this kid. I'm ready to see him get out there, and you kind of wanted to see more of him last year, and now we're slowly seeing his emergence continue as well. So and JT Barrett did a good job last week, obviously. What was he? A handful of yards short of Schleister's freshman record there, and a great performance from him. I think it was it like 5-6 yards short of the record, something like that?
Yeah, actually, not even that. It was 412, and it wasn't a freshman record. It's the all-time total yards in a game record for Ohio State quarterbacks. 412 is Schleister's record. He had 409. So not just for freshmen, but for anybody, total yards in a game.
Well, there you go. For some reason, I thought that was the total yards gained by a freshman. That puts better perspective on it, that it's the total record there too. I may be mixing the two with another one. So, all right, let's see what happens, man. Let's see what the Buckeyes do as they begin Big Ten play. Like you said, they actually get the 2 newest back-to-back here with Maryland and then Rutgers, and then that 3-game stretch like Dan was talking about. 3 consecutive ABC, ESPN, 8 p.m. kickoff games coming up with Penn State, Illinois, Michigan State, and 2 of the 3 of those are on the road. So it'll be an interesting stretch. It starts with Maryland here. Last thing before I let you go, Dan, Browns game this weekend. Speaking of trap games, do they go to Tennessee and fall for the trap, or do they set one of their own and trap the Titans?
Well, I agree with John that it's hard to predict a road victory till we see at least one. But I'm going to go out on a limb. I think the Browns, after coming off the bye, are going to be ready. And I don't think there's any doubt that this is a must-win game for the Titans, where the Browns might not be looking at it that way, but you've got to believe that the Titans are looking at their schedule, and they've got this one circled as a W that they've got to have. Even with that, I think the Browns are going to come out and steal a win on the road. Come back 2-2 and be in the thick of it heading into the soft stretch on their schedule, or hopefully they can win 3 of the next 4 after that at least, and put some distance between them and 500. Maybe that's pie in the sky stuff, but it's got to start somewhere. And I think they've got a good shot to get this one on the road, because I think the Titans are really a very mediocre football team. We're finding out every week that there's quite a few of those in the NFL. Maybe more than there are good ones, but anyway. And by the way, my call is for a tight Browns W. Maybe the 4th game in a row that ends on a last-second field goal. You were going to mention the guy at Ohio State that got slammed by Anthony Schlegel.
Yes.
The only reason I bring it up is I'm seeing this video on my computer screen right as we speak, where Meyer actually addressed it, and you heard that the kid lost his scholarship. Through this incident, and Meyer did finally weigh in on it, where he said he he was happy to see one of their coaches protecting their players as if the players are under threat by this guy. But also he was a little bit cautious about. I didn't want the university to get sued if something bad would happen to somebody when they get slammed to the turf like that. And so he was looking at it both ways. But he did comment that he liked to see one of his coaches sticking up for his players.
They gave him the award,
as if they were under some mortal threat.
He said we were joking about it. We gave him a Hit City Award this week, a team award for one of the best hits of the game. And but yeah, I'll tell you what, he's not wrong about that. They will get sued for that, and then there will be a court case involving this because you can't walk on somebody's sidewalk and slip and fall without suing them. That's just the
exactly right. Yeah, everybody today, fully expects there to be a lawsuit. Hopefully, it'll just get treated like it deserves to be treated.
No, for sure. Absolutely. But I'll never forget that line. I don't know if you ever saw Liar, Liar by Jim Carrey, where the secretary's quitting on him. And he's like, my neighbor, she's a nice little old lady, and somebody broke into her house and slipped and fell and cut himself breaking in the window. He sued her and won. She had to pay him $20,000 for breaking into her house. And then Jim Carrey's like, I'd have got him 30. But the point is this is the same. He breaks into somebody's house and then is able to sue the homeowner for getting hurt in the process. So even though you can sue anybody for anything anytime. No business on the field, but he's still going to be able to get paid off of it. But that hit's going to live forever. Anthony Schlegel, man, that video and the memes are the best because they're putting him in different positions. It's great, man. Like I've seen some of the wrestling ones where they're just cutting and pasting him in the middle of a wrestling match, delivering a move to people, and it's great, man. It just
people that have Photoshop skills are what keep us all going on Twitter, and that's what we live for. People that are doing creative Photoshops is what it's all about.
I got a few of them, Dan. They put my head in all kinds of weird places and send it to me. I had to tell somebody yesterday, stop using that head. Pick a different one. I don't like that one. That's a scary head. Pick a different head of mine, man. But
you'll have to show those to me sometime.
Oh, yeah, I can show you some good ones, Dan. Yeah, you'll laugh at some of them. Have a good one, my man. Enjoy the Buckeyes. Enjoy the Browns. Enjoy the playoffs. And then we'll come back Monday and talk about all of it.
Thank you, sir. We'll talk to you Monday. See you next time.
Dan Wismar from the Cleveland Fan, my man, always with us on Mondays and Wednesdays. You know what, guys? End it on a high note. Let's not even take another break. We're going to finish the show here. Don't forget Cavaliers. Well, you can't get tickets anyway, but the Cavs have a scrimmage tonight. Wine versus gold. We'll talk about that tomorrow, whatever happens there. We'll talk about the wild card, NL wild card, San Francisco, Pittsburgh, in Pittsburgh tonight, 8 p.m. tomorrow. Kendall Lewis, the BSK, joins us live talking Browns. We'll preview the Browns and the Titans with Kendall. Dan was just with us. BJ Riddell, Fantasy Football for Winners, coming your way tomorrow. Get you all set for the weekend. And Mike Brandenberry from DidTheTribeWinLastNight.com going to join us for his take on the end of the season. We'll talk some playoffs with him and more. So, ladies and gentlemen, come on back tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, live at noon here on the Sports Fix. We love you, Cleveland. We'll see you tomorrow.
King James, we are not the empire, but this is where the kings play. Cleveland.